Hi, I'm Owen Fitzpatrick, and welcome to another episode of the Sarcastic Series. Now, this is a very serious, important series that is designed to help you to be able to make your life a lot worse than it is at the moment. Hopefully, you've got a terrible life, but listening to this particular video will hopefully help make sure that your life goes even more down the drain. This particular video is how to become a much more effective pessimist. Now, there's lots of people that talk about being optimists and pessimists and how optimists live longer than pessimists and how it's better to be an optimist than a pessimist and all that information. And I hear what you're saying. At the same time, so many videos are out there talking about being optimistic. Even the whole field of positive psychology is about becoming more optimistic. Where's the videos about pessimism? You know, we're living in a world where we need to have equal rights. Equal rights for optimist wanters and equal rights for pessimist wanters. And also equal rights for people who make up the word wanters. What's really important is to make sure that if you want to become a pessimist, you follow a number of different steps, which I'm going to take you through right now. The first step to become a better pessimist is to be able to expect the worst. Always expect the worst. Whatever's happening, really go down that murky pathway in your mind where you see everything becoming worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. See, the reality is that most of us don't use our imaginations enough. What you need to do is you need to truly imagine it. You know when you get like a headache or you get a stomach ache and a headache at the same time, and you decide to Google headache and stomach ache at the same time, and then you start to see, oh, it could be this, it could be that, and you take the worst thing possible, and then you start to Google other stuff, and then you start to notice as you read the symptoms, you start to feel them at the same time. You know what I'm talking about? That's a great strategy, because what that does is it makes you start to feel even more stressed, even more worried. You're activating the system in your nervous system such that it's creating more cortisol, more stress. That in turn makes it easier for you to worry more and expect more of the worst things to happen. So you could really terrify yourself with all the eventualities. Pretty much you can go from having a little cough to a coffin within seconds if you use the strategy of expecting the worst and to be able to research in terms of Google. In helping you to do that, another strategy is to be able to ask yourself what can go wrong. Now, don't just expect what can go wrong now. Start to be little bit more, have more variety and more flexibility in what can go wrong. Think, well, maybe what this happened or this could happen. Think about stuff that really is probably remotely very unlikely to happen, but still could. And if it does, it really messes everything up. By asking the question, what can go wrong, what can go wrong, what can go wrong, almost like a mantra, you start to really train your brain to focus on all the different things that could go wrong. And the more you do that, the more it stresses you out. So many people struggle because what they find themselves doing is they find themselves being able to ask, well, how can I get over this? Or what's the solution? Or what can I do? And instead, what you want to do is you want to ask, how can this go wrong? Another thing that's important is make sure you defend everything that you're saying and say that you're a realist. We don't call ourselves pessimists just because there's like negative associations with pessimism. I mean, me and you, we're good with pessimism because I'm trying to help you become more pessimistic, so it's good. But other people are like, oh, you're a pessimist. You don't want that. You want to call yourself a realist. So you just go, I'm just being realistic. And make sure you do it in that kind of way. You don't do, I'm just being realistic. You do, I'm just being realistic. You know, kind of mock them with that response. And it kind of makes them less likely to want to engage with you, which means there's less time for them to be able to persuade you. So again, by being able to mock them and going, I'm just being realistic, I don't care about this or that or the other, then everything works out in the most effective way. Another thing is the importance of making sure that you feel hopeless. Hopelessness is one of the most important ingredients to being a great pessimist. A lot of people have hope and they think, oh, well, maybe things will work out. They probably won't. And the more that you imagine them not working out, the easier it is for you to be even more miserable. You see, you have to train your brain to look for everything that can go wrong and the fact that it probably will. Find evidence that backs up your claim and really spend lots of time ruminating about everything that went wrong in the past. That's going to help your wrong focusing muscles to be able to really start to sharpen your attention on everything that could completely screw up and become complete bollocks for you in the future. So really start to master the art of really looking for bad, 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 looking for everything that could happen. And then the final strategy, which I think is really useful, is to be able to make sure that every single time something good happens, expect something bad to happen. Do you ever get that feeling where everything's going great and you just get that little feel of anxiety? There's a reason. It's because it's probably going to go up in flames. So what you need to do is whenever you get that good feeling, instantly feel that feeling of dread. Because the more you feel that feeling of dread, the worse you feel, and the more you actually train yourself to go from happiness to sadness. So it's not only like when you're sad, it's easy to be sad. Now, when you're happy, you're also sad, which really masters your ability to be a great pessimist. Now, people will say you really should be focused on being an optimist, to expect the best, to ask yourself questions like, how can I get over this? Or what could go right? Or how could things work out? To be able to ensure that when you're feeling good, you continue to feel good. All those great things people would say if they want you to be an optimist. But you don't, do you? You want to be a pessimist. So really focus on everything that could go wrong, expect the worst, and make life as awful in your mind as it could be at some point in reality. I really hope this helps, and I wish you a terrible day, a really wonderfully awful future, and I hope that your life continues to go further and further down the drain. For now, I'm Owen Fitzpatrick. Not happy to see you.